Welcome to the Boyk Brief. Today we are speaking with employees of the Lucas County Canine Care and Control. I hope I said it all, that's a mouthful. But I think it also goes by LC4. Today we have Kelly Sears, Director, and Anna Brogan, Community Engagement Manager. Hi guys.
Hello. Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So there's a lot of big things I want to talk about. But first one is, can you just give the people that might not know an overview about what LC4 is, what you guys do, and kind of go from there?
Sure. We do quite a few things that I think a lot of people don't realize, or some people always think of one part and not the other. So we do take in over 3,000 stray dogs a year, and we do accept owner surrender dogs as well by appointment. And we do pick up dogs. Our deputies are on the road picking up dogs as needed, as well as taking in stray dogs that are found by the public through our front door. And we do investigate all the bites of Lucas County. So anytime a dog bites a person, or if unfortunately it kills another dog, that is something that we investigate. We do have an adoption program. We have a low-cost vaccine clinic program as well. We do a lot of outreach to the community and schools, and we have a pretty good return to home program where we try to help the owners once they get their dogs reclaimed, and we try to help get them spayed, neutered, and up to date on vaccines. Am I missing anything?
I think you got it.
It sounds like a lot.
Yeah, and
I can't imagine more.
Everyone's, we never want to keep anyone's dog. Like, we don't want them. So people were like, oh no, I don't want to be truthful. I don't want to tell what happened. It's like, we don't want your dog, and we will not take your dog. We don't have that authority. So
how many employees does it take to kind of keep this running?
we're right under 30 right now. So not very many of us.
I heard that there was a camp out, something along those lines for dogs, and some kind of awareness program. Tell me about that.
In June, we had a huge grant from Best Friends Animal Society. They would cover the entire adoption fee and license for up to 100 dogs. And I was like, that's amazing. How can we draw attention to this? Like, what's something new we could do? And I was like, oh, what if I don't go home until 100 dogs go home? And then I was like, be realistic. And I was like, okay, I'll go home, but maybe I just won't sleep at home. So I called my friends up at the Metro Parks, and we made a plan, and I camped out every night in the month of June or until 100 dogs were adopted, whichever came first. Thank goodness it came June 28th. And I took a different shelter dog with me every night. We had a couple nights that were nasty weather, the tornado that hit Point Place. I was snug in my office at LC4 because I wanted to really.
But I'm really surprised how much good weather there was.
It was beautiful.
It was shocking. Really.
Yeah,
That's amazing. You didn't even cave for the weather.
I mean,
Or the ticks.
And this was a tent camping?
Yes, I had a 6-person tent, and Kelly loaned me her cot. So there was a cot and a crate, because I'm not taking a shelter dog without a crate. I don't know this dog very well.
Sure.
And most of the dogs absolutely loved it. A couple of the dogs were like, what is all this noise? What are those frogs doing out of bed? Don't they know we're supposed to be sleeping? And they were a little bit, but I played some quiet music for them, and they did okay. And there were only 3 dogs that I didn't want to have in my own home.
Okay.
There are only 3 dogs out of 27 dogs that I took.
Wow. Well, that is fantastic. And you said the goal was 100 in the month?
Yes, and we hit 101.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What's your average adoption rate throughout the months?
It is usually between 60 and 70, which sometimes seems low, but then we also have the return to home dogs as well, and we don't have any cats, so that does play a part into it. But yeah, 100 is, we would love it if we could reach 100 every month. That would be fantastic.
Can you tell us about the process for bringing the dogs into the shelter and kind of what happens from there?
The majority of dogs, like I said, are strays. So they're either picked up by our deputy or they are brought in by a Good Samaritan. So they come in, they get their picture taken immediately, because we want to have every chance that we can find an owner. That does get uploaded real time to our website, or it could even be like 15 minutes, but it's very quick. So we have photos of the dogs. We get the photo. We get them a collar where it has all their information on it, just kind of like a hospital ID almost, but a collar. And then they go to the kennel and, get fed and hopefully, can decompress a little bit. But, it's a scary place. The same process happens with an owner surrender as well. We usually give them a couple days to, kind of just decompress a little bit, but we don't have a set time. We have to hold them. But for owner surrenders, we do ask that people call and make an appointment because it's the law that we hold all the strays and then we run out of space. So for the owner surrenders, we want to give everyone the best chance to get through the system. So we ask that people make appointments for those guys. Legal stray hold is 3 days without a license for Ohio, 14 days with a license. So once it hits day 4, they're ours. And we can move forward with whatever we're going to do. First they are put with other dogs to see what their play styles are like and who they might like. Some, dogs want to be with people more. Some enjoy playing and are what we call play date candidates. And some are must meet other dogs because they just might be older and they don't want like a young pup jumping all over them. They do have to be able to get along though. We can't have aggressive dogs that are, just up to get into a big fight. After that, they do have a brief behavior evaluation. And it's just quick handling and, do they guard toys and food? And even if they do, it's just there's different modification programs that we can send people home with to work on those. And then after that, they are put in a status for a physical, which is either they just get a regular physical if they're already spayed and neutered, even though most of them aren't. And then that includes the rest of their vaccines, because they are all vaccinated also in intake. So they do get we want to try to prevent any illness if we can. But then they get the rabies vaccine, their heartworm test, spay neutered, microchip. And then after we check their incision the next day, they're up for adoption.
Wow. Do you take in all breeds?
We do. Yep, we take in all breeds. Yes.
The most amazing part is seeing this dog that if you saw it, if you didn't know anything about dogs, you'd be like, that is a terrible dog. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And then you see it turn into a squishmallow, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's magical.
How do you guys give that up? I feel like I would, have so much attachment to the dog and wouldn't be able to separate myself. How do you do that?
I think it's kind of like students in school. Like if teachers, they get really attached to their students. They love them, but they know they're not their children. And they know they're going home or going on to their next teachers or whatever. So I just I'm glad when it finds a forever home and it can go live its best life.
So if someone wants to adopt, what's the best way to find what dogs you have? Is it your website? Do you have social media? How do they find that?
Yeah, so all of our adoptable animals are listed on the website. They also have a profile in Pet Finder. And so that's really a good way to find a dog who is going to be a good match for you. Or you can just come into the shelter and you can meet up to 4 dogs at one time. You can look through this big book. We got a big book of pictures and when they came in and kind of what they're like. And we'll bring them and you get to visit with the dog and get a sense of their energy and yours. And
I like that. What's your hours for walk-ins?
Monday through Friday is 11 to 5:30. We close at 6, but we have to stop adoption processes at 5:30. And then on the weekend, it's 11 to 4:30 for adoptions. Yeah.
So if someone's not ready for adoption yet, but wants to be involved, do you have volunteering opportunities?
We do have volunteering opportunities. We also have fostering opportunities. So you're not ready to pull the trigger, you don't know, you're on the fence. Take it home as a foster, and you can kind of see at home and take your time and see how that's going to go. If you're not ready to have a dog in your home at all, absolutely. We always need volunteers. We have probably 50 active volunteers right now. I think we had 352 hours of volunteer dog walking in July. So that's pretty awesome. We really appreciate our dog walkers. There are opportunities to help with events, help with making enrichment toys. We always need help making TikTok videos and
We have a foster ambassador program as well. So that is someone who just wants to help us by fostering the dog and finding a home for it. So they will take the dog home, put it on their social media, share with, encourage their friends to share. And then depending on their comfort level where they want to meet up to meet the dog, That is great. And that is really what we need. We need so many more of those because our shelter's stressful. Everyone knows it's an old building. Everyone knows we need a new one. And even in the new one, it's still not a home. So this is a great way for people to meet the dog and then see what their personality is like. And then these homes do it over and over again. And, they love it. And if they have to go on vacation, they don't have to worry about it. So we love our foster ambassadors.
Is there any commitment with fostering? Like, if you want to foster one and then you don't want to do it again, or if you want to continue it, is there any kind of?
Nope, not at all. We do hope, though, there's a lot of foster failures, so someone's going to be an ambassador.
Keep the dog.
Yeah, so that's great, but we don't want to lose you completely, so you have to keep fostering.
That's actually how I got both of my dogs, foster failure. So.
Yes, I know I am. Like, I can't even, I know if I say I'm going to foster this dog, it's not coming back, so. My whole family knows that, so okay, we have another dog.
Where are you located? Where's your current location?
We're at
410 South Erie Street.
Okay.
It's at Erie Street, down close to Collingwood and where you get on 75.
It is really a building that was meant to hold dogs for 3 days, and on day 4, that was it. The building is terrible. It doesn't allow the space for the dogs as they should. There isn't enough room because the kennels are so small, and they're all together in multiple big rooms, which we know just causes, the main thing that dogs get is kennel cough and upper respiratory infection, just kind of a cold like we do. And dogs put in that situation, we kind of say it's like daycare. You take your kid to daycare for the first time and they're sick. And, that's basically what happens to any dog that enters our building. Even though we vaccinate them the moment they walk in, it's too late.
Did I hear something about there's a new project or new building in the works?
We're in the process of a new build at 1301 Monroe Street.
Okay.
The building there has been demolished, so we're in the getting soil samples and all that phase to see, is our foundation going to support, what we want with the soil, and
It's going to be brand new.
completely new.
Do you guys have an expected move-in date or?
Right now, we are
Projection.
looking at the winter of 2024 or early 2025.
Well, that's exciting.
So it's double the size of our building now, and we'll have the proper kennel size for our dogs.
Now, does that mean you'll be able to increase the number of dogs you have in?
Yes, well, we will. If we needed to shut our guillotine doors, we would have almost 300 kennels in the new facility. However, we do not want to have to do that all the time, or really ever. And it's a complete different setup, which I think a lot of people don't understand because they're like, oh, you're building it to the same size or less, which we're not building less. Everyone thinks we're building less, but we still have about a good 180 kennels. And so if you look at our numbers right now, we're sitting at 203 today, which is not a good thing at all. Hitting 200 is, where we don't want to be.
Okay.
But we have a lot of puppies right now, and those puppies are in a litter. Now that whole litter would go in one kennel run together, and that's what I think people
Okay.
and even some of the employees have never seen a way a proper shelter runs. So, or we have, if we have a bunch of little chihuahuas that come in from the same household, they're going to go in the same kennel run. They're more comfortable that way.
Sure.
Even a bunch of little dogs that don't know each other can go together because they're going to be a lot more comfortable. In the new building, the max dog in each room is 8 or 9 dogs. So complete huge difference. I mean, our main kennel area, it's called the main, houses about 64 dogs, and those are all breathing the same airspace. So from going from 64 to 9, we really hope it's going to make a huge difference for these dogs and our vet staff. I mean, talk about, time to give meds. Every dog is on meds twice a day. So, and then some dogs won't eat the meds, and then we have a whole list, like this one likes Spam, this one likes Biljack, this one likes shredded chicken. So, there's not adequate outside space. There wasn't a vet clinic space. The biggest problem is all the dogs come through one front door. So that just shouldn't happen in animal sheltering. There should be, an adoption area, and then, the surrender stray area. So, because you don't want healthy dogs mixed with sick dogs coming in. So, all of that separation of space just isn't happening right now.
So it sounds like this new building has a lot of opportunity and growth for you all.
Yes, yep, and it needs to, it was definitely needed probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it is time. It is time for
Absolutely.
Lucas County to
Good.
get us there.
Well, that's great. Another point I wanted to bring up and how we kind of first came to know you guys is our partnership. We have the Boyk Law Cares program. From your side of it, how is this program going to help you guys and, LC4?
First of all, the monetary donations is fantastic because that goes to our Cuties Fund, and that is our fund that goes to dogs that need extra TLC medically. And it's a lot. I mean, what we spend on these dogs medically is insane. I think a lot of people don't realize, I'm sure they don't because they don't know, the general people know, the shape that the dogs are when they get to us is always pretty bad. Because we'll see posts where people are like, oh, let's look at the cruelty of this dog. It's like, that is what every one of our dogs look like when they come in. Just your general stray being brought in is in bad shape. They're thin. They usually have some sort of hair loss from fleas. They usually have ear infections. They have intestinal parasites. Like, they just look bad. And then some of them, as soon as it's spring, it's hit by a car. And, the dogs are getting out. They're not neutered. So, they're roaming. They're trying to find, the ladies. And they will go far. They will go miles. So we unfortunately have, dogs that get shot, stabbed, and, we see it all. And without that fund, we wouldn't be able to do it. So it helps pay for their medical care. I mean, we've had just so many that we need to do outside care. And that'll be either, orthopedic surgeries or amputations or eyelid surgeries or different masses that need to be removed. And it is, pretty much like we have a litter of puppies that just came in yesterday, and 2 of them, and I'm talking they are tiny little babes, 8 weeks, probably only 5 pounds, and 2 are going to need an eye removed. So what happened to those 2 that's not just a normal birth defect.
Right.
There's trauma to those little guys already. And then the adoption spot is great. I mean, the last one I was just like, oh, the letters were crooked. I'm like, great. So, but it's fun for people. They get excited. They're happy with their new dog. They're super happy for the photo. And it's just nice to have something nice and bright to, brighten up everyone's day.
Yeah. Can you describe what the adoption site or spot is that you just referenced?
It used to be yellow cinder blocks and a bench with sometimes cushions on it and sometimes not. And sometimes there would be a banner that we would put up Happy Valentine's Day or whatever was up. The Happy Gotcha Day was up there last. And sometimes it looked really nice, and sometimes usually it just looked really institutional and maybe a little sad.
Okay.
And now it is a beautiful blue background with a photo of a sunflower field at the bottom. So it's blue and yellow.
Bright yellow.
It's so happy. It's so beautiful. And there's some new cushions to go on the bench. So everybody's first family photo together. It's this happy photo. It's beautiful. I know that it's a nice thing for the families to have, but then when we can share that, on our social media, sometimes we'll do a big post, be like, here's, a whole bunch of our latest adoption pics in our Boyk Law Cares adoption spot. You consume things with your eyes, right? You're not going to see the sad picture and be like, oh, well, it's an old shelter and whatever.
Right.
No, you're going to be like, why? Why does it look like that? But now you're going to see it and you're like, what a cheerful photo and how happy. And I want to do that. And people can see themselves then in that adoption photo. And then hopefully they'll just come down and get one of their own.
Yes, I agree.
Our front desk staff, when they're completing adoptions, they give people the option to have their pictures taken. Not everyone wants their photos taken, and not everyone wants their photos shared on social media.
Sure.
So we do what we can.
And you guys have a social media page where people can go and see that?
We do. We even have 2. So pictures will be shared from our Facebook page, which is, Lucas County Canine Care and Control. And then we have a Friends of group who is also our nonprofit arm that will raise money for us as well. So they're our 501c3. And so that is Friends of Lucas County Dogs. And they love to share the adoption photos as well.
Great. And I believe we'll be taking that and sharing your post as well, so we can reach out to even more people, and hopefully we can get even more people at the adoption site and get a lot more pictures and happy adoptions going.
Yes,
it is, because our biggest need really, besides all the dogs having a home, is people knowing who we are and not getting us confused with other organizations, and just realizing that we exist. And I think that was, and we're not just, you know, dog catchers coming to take your dog. Especially, you know, our future plans, you know, is working more with the community. We want people to be able to come to us as a place where they get help, not as like, ooh, the evil dog catcher. So that is really what we want.
We want to connect you to resources. If you can't keep your dog because you can't afford vaccinations, well, we'll get you into our clinic. If you can't afford food, we'll connect you with people who
I have a pet
can
pantry.
do pet pantry. Yeah.
So from what I understand, this is the first time that you have partnered up with an outside business. And what does that look like? And I guess going forward, what do you hope to achieve with more businesses?
Yeah, so this is our first formalized sponsorship where your name is on something in our building and you've made a commitment to supply us with money going forward. And as we look forward to our new building, we're definitely hoping that more and more businesses want to form relationships like that. You guys know how good it feels to be able to come down and see your money and your effort at work helping the dogs, and we want other businesses to be able to do that. We're in the process of formalizing some outlines for different sponsorship opportunities, and we can start those soon, or we can do them down the line and get people involved with the new building.
So you mentioned before about your nonprofit Friends group. Tell us a little bit about what they do and how they support the dogs in the shelter.
So their main mission is to support the dogs in our shelter. Like that is exactly what they want to do. So my first year, they did raise enough money for us to get a digital X-ray machine. So at that time, it was funny. I was new and I was like, "Okay, everyone, we can do it." And they're like, "How much is it?" And I'm like, $45,000. And they're like, "There's no way we can do that." And I think they reached their goal in 3 to 4 months. So they were super excited. And that was like just huge for us because, like I said, so many hit by cars, so many broken legs. And we would have to take the dogs and put them in a truck and bounce them with a broken leg to a vet clinic, get the x-ray, and then bounce them all the way back. So I couldn't imagine. It's like, you poor dogs. Now it's just digital. It's, state of the art. It's the best thing in our building. And that was just, it's like what that has done for the animals is insane. And it's been things like that. They will do $5 Fridays, and all of our dogs get Benebones. So they raised enough money that we were able to buy enough Benebones for every single dog in the shelter, which are nice durable chewies, because we have, big chewies, big chewers. And they just bought us a blood machine so we can do blood work before surgery.
Wow.
They have bought us an ultrasound machine so we can do ultrasounds on pregnant dogs, or just if we see swelling in the belly. So just, they love helping out. They do enrichment nights. So they will organize nights when they come and they make all those enrichment toys for our dogs and pass them out and then fill our fridges. So we can make sure the dogs get enrichment every day, which is, so good for them. So they are there to support us. They usually do a bigger run for the animals. And when is that coming up?
October 8th.
Oh, yeah.
Ottawa Park.
Yep.
We should run, Andrea.
October 8th.
Yeah.
Writing it down.
Better start training now.
Yep. And it is like an official, for runners.
Dave's,
what they do.
Yep. Dave's is involved. And
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also going to be an alumni event. So
Yes.
if anyone has any LC4 alumni, we're going to do that and have some fun stuff going on with that.
Yeah.
So they're such a great group. We're so happy to have them. And I just love that they're just, they help with our, we have a Glass City Pity Transfer grant. So we were able to get another grant so we can actually pay our rescues to take our pit bulls. Just if they need, extra medical care, they can use the money, or advertising, whatever. So they help facilitate that program. Oh, and a big one, Rescue University. You want to talk about Rescue U?
Yeah, so Friends of Lucas County Dogs, they started a program called Rescue University. So some of our longer stay dogs, as they start to kind of get kennel crazy and they're
Tired of being there.
They need a little something more in their life. Volunteers will pick them up. I think we have 1 or 2 classes a week, and they get to go to training at Canine Karma. And so that makes them a little bit more desirable to adopters. They, know their basics: sit, lay down, paw,
Loose leash walking.
loose leash walking,
Yeah.
Just helps them.
And they get free classes after. So if they
Yeah.
get adopted, Canine Karma does continue the training classes for a certain amount of time until they graduate. So
That's
Yeah.
it is a
fantastic.
great program.
Yeah, and it's innovative. Like, we're one of the first shelters, definitely in Ohio, to do such a program.
Well, you guys are doing great work. I know we all here at Boyk Law appreciate you. Is there anything you want the public to know that would help at LC4?
Well, I think one thing, just with back to what we do, we actually sell dog licenses as well, right? And whatever people's feelings are about those, the biggest thing that everyone needs to remember is it does fund our dog and kennel fund, which is where all the money comes out of for everything that we do. But it also is the main tool in Ohio, the main proof that you own that dog. So Ohio has different laws than other states, and a microchip is a wonderful tool. We love them. We want everyone to have a microchip. But if your dog has a microchip and not a current license, the microchip doesn't mean anything. So the microchip could be microchipped to someone else, or someone else could get a license on your dog. But if the license trumps all. So you have to get a license just to ensure that your dog is safe. And so I just want people to realize that. Plus, all the dogs would never even enter our building if they had a license. Our officers will even do everything they can on the road to take those dogs back. It's like when there is a license, we are calling, we're like, hey, we'll drop it off. Is there a safe residence we can take it to? Just in anything like that. So I think people need to realize that. And if they ever have questions about that, they can reach out to us.
That's good to know. Can they do that online?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
How much is a license?
It's $25 for Lucas County. And there are 3-year and permanent licenses as well.
Okay. Well, that's great to know. Ladies, I really appreciate you coming here. We learned a lot today, and I hope that we can continue to work together and really get the word out to the public. Thank you very much.
For sure. Thanks for having us. It's been great.
Thank you so much.